Park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Park Pals. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, we have a lovely guest who has been here for 100,000 years, and I love it so much. Our favorite, one of our favorite guest stars, Kris Carr is here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me again. I love it. It has been 100,000 years. We've been in these streets.
In our like SpongeBob voice, 5 hours later. But what an exciting episode we have. Oh my God. We're like rounding out, bro. Like it is coming to a head of what we've been looking for our girl. Oh my God. Incredible. So excited. And then also to the listeners, if you have not rated or reviewed, I'm trying to say this at the beginning. If you have not rated or reviewed the pod, please do that. That really helps us and helps us spread the Parks and Rec lore and just take over the universe, okay, which is what we're trying to do. And what else is there? Oh, yeah, bonus pods are $3 a month if you want to do that. Kris has a lovely podcast called Two Filthy Casuals that you should follow. There's just like so many things that you can do.
Just support everybody trying their best here, guys. Everyone's making art and making content. And, you know, you could skip one crappy cup of coffee. That's all you gotta do. That's all.
That's so true. That's so true. And then also, just as a heads up, this will probably be 2 parts. Actually, not probably. This will be 2 parts. So you will get part 2 later because we have so many things to go over. I have so many voice memos, so many notes. Like I said, we are really, this is like peak Parks, I feel. Like we are really getting into every B story counts. Every A story is really mattering because it's like, obviously we're, like I said, we're coming to a head of what Leslie has been working for. So before I get into the actual episode, I've got like a current event section is what I'm calling it, where I'm talking about all of the people that I have seen that have been on parks like out in the wild. So, okay, Loot, if you haven't watched Loot yet, it's kind of technically Sherverse because of Alan Yang being the creator, but also Matt Hubbard created it as well, who was a huge writer / backbone of 30 Rock, which I didn't know.
Oh,
so that's cool. He also wrote a book called The Legend of Aang. Matt Hubbard did, which is from Avatar. So you guys should check that out. Amazing. It's like he talks about how Aang defeated King Rumi, which is cool and timely because I feel like you just talked about that on your podcast, didn't you, Avatar?
Yeah, we just did an episode. It hasn't come out yet, but we just did that interview. And it's so great. It's with Amanda Noriko Newman, who also does fight coordination in real life. So their perspective on the fighting styles that they use in bending is so cool to get into, and we talk about that show. But man, amazing. I have so much love for Avatar. Nickelodeon gave me a steelbook because I used to cover that show so much that they gifted me the fancy schmancy collector's edition. It's great. My God. It's so beautiful. It's one of my prized possessions.
Oh my God! Did you watch the live one yet?
I did. Have you seen it?
Is it okay? No, I haven't watched it yet.
It is okay. It's different. They're going, and they've said this, they're going for more of a Game of Thrones kind of approach to it. So it's not nearly as fun. And I say fun, it's a show that tackles genocide within the first few episodes. And it's intense stuff. But one of the things that you love about it so much, at least for me, is that you have this absolute heart at the center of it with this 12-year-old boy who can make a friend with anyone, no matter the differences between them. And I feel like we lose a little bit of that, but they're doing their own thing. I'm interested to see what they do with season 2 because they made some big shifts. Didn't love all of them, but some of them I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's a cool way to pursue this.
Wait, so I thought it was a movie. It's a seasonal thing or episodic?
There is a movie, and it's heinous.
Oh.
That was done by M. Night Shyamalan years ago.
Okay.
And now Netflix has done a live action series, and it looks like they're going to kind of follow the format of that.
Okay. Good to know. I did not know that. Okay, great. Good to know. Also, if you guys haven't watched Abbott Elementary yet, please watch that. There's a serious Jim Pam moment going on. That's a lot of Parks people. Well, more so the Office people. Randall Einhorn is a huge producer director on that one as well. And wait, are you caught up on Abbott? Or
yes.
Do you watch it?
Yes.
Oh my God. I just caught up. Well, actually, I missed the one, I think, this past Wednesday. So I got to catch up on that. But like, it's so Jim Pam, Ben Leslie moment where Gregory and Janine, I'm just like, when the fuck are they gonna get together? And Gregory, stop it. It was Gregory's fault. He was like, oh, I just kind of moved past that. Oh, I'm so mad at him.
No, you haven't. Stop being so proud.
Literally, you have not moved on. Look at all your sly looks and the way that you visited her at the district. Duh. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly.
But they're so good. I love them so much. It's so lovely. But yeah, so you guys need to watch that. And then the last thing is that Kyle from Parks and Rec, you know, the nemesis to Jerry, Andy Forrest is his name, the actor's name, who we interviewed actually, so you can check that out. He is in Palm Royale with Kristen Wiig in one scene where they're reading out the will. And I was like, Kyle!
That's great.
Yeah, he's in his like period piece, like, you know, because it's whatever 70s or whatever the hell. Yeah, and he has this like, you know, 70s suit, and it's so fun. Also for Sweet Home Alabama fans, the main fella who was in Sweet Home Alabama is in that as well. So yeah, I just thought that was really funny. And I do feel like the with Loot and Palm Royale, and I've been watching Succession. I was talking to you about this. I feel like a lot of times I'm just like, ugh. I'm kind of done watching rich people do rich shit kind of thing. But at the same time, I don't know why I really like Palm Royale for some reason. I just like kind of love catching up with it. Maybe it's because I don't know why. Because at first I hated it. And now I'm just like, Carol Burnett's in it now. So she has some stuff going on.
I gave up on it. I got 4 episodes in. And I just went, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
I hear you. Stunning. I love the costuming. I love the cast. I just couldn't get into that story.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I really do. But anyway, so, okay, that's my current event section. Now I have a recap from the debate, actually, which was the last episode. I have an amazing voice memo from Brad Leland, actually, who played Fester Trim on the debate episode, a.k.a. Friday Night Lights fellow. He was so fun and so cute. Oh, he's great. Did you watch Friday Night Lights?
I actually I think we've talked about this before. I used to do extra work for Friday Night Lights, the show, because I was in school in Austin. That's how I'd get my beer money.
Yes. Oh my God. Hilarious. Yes. He sent in a video, which was so funny. He must be on set somewhere because it looked like he was in like maybe a trailer or dressing room or something. I don't know. But I converted it to audio, obviously. But if you want to see the video, you could sign up for bonus pods because I will probably be posting the whole thing and or not posting it. I'll just send it to you, honestly. And I also cut it down just a little bit because he did, you know, it was pretty long, but it's still 8 minutes. So just a heads up. But he sent in like 13 minutes and I just cut out a little bit of like his origin story. He actually was in Japan from ages 2 to 5 and he remembers his first performing moments. Like he did the Davy Crockett song in Japan and everyone was so excited to see it. I know. He like talked about how he was like, I was just this little Caucasian boy and everyone really was so nice and generous and kind and stuff. And he just has really fond memories of performing and that's like kind of where it all started. But then he goes into like high school, college, and that's kind of the part that I am starting it at. But I'll post the whole thing, the 13 minutes if you want to hear it on bonus pods. So just FYI. But here's Fester Trim, aka Brad Leland.
Hi, Holly and Maddie. It's Brad. If you can't tell, it's not Fester Trim, but it's Brad. And here is my recording, slowly said for you. And so please you can use some of this on the podcast. I can tell you that I loved working on Parks and Rec. It was just such a grateful time for me in so many ways. But my mother was a singer and a dancer, and so she had me in all those kind of classes, and I was always doing that too. But that was secondary. And then I became an actor after I tore up my knee, and we won the state championship, my high school, and then that stopped all my goals to be a college and pro football player, some kind of athlete. So that's when I became a very serious actor, and I did the high school leads and the Music Man and Little Abner and all those kind of things. And then I went into college and got my degree in theater and as an actor and director. And I stayed at Texas Tech with that. We had an incredible department, and a lot of people are great actors that came from that program. G.W. Bailey, Barry Corbin, and lots of producers on shows. actors, directors, and so it was a very great program. And I came to Dallas and started my career on Dallas. Was my first show when I was 28, and I was very lucky. We thought that was a big deal to join the union then, and that's when I did. And my first movie was Silverado, which was a big, huge picture and a career starter for many people. And so those my first two jobs, and I loved it, and I've been doing it ever since. So that's kind of my quick history of why I do this. Excuse me. I was telling you that when I came from to California to UCLA, that had been a dream of mine when I was a kid. I was going to come to UCLA and go to college. And I thought I was going to be an athlete, a dash / actor there. And that was one of my goals, was to be on stage in California at UCLA. And it only took me 50 years to get that, which, of course, after 40 years of working as an actor. But then Parks and Rec called me, and I found out it was going to be at UCLA, but I didn't find out it was going to be on the stage there. And so when I came there, that goal was completed, and then my little dream came true in my 60s, that I got to be on stage at UCLA for that scene. And I loved that day work. There were a couple of days there was something, but I really loved Amy. She was such a business, such a great producer, actress, friend. She was happy, and she was running around all days in high heels. Unbelievable how her patience and her strength, and just what a great leader she was, and so kind to all of us characters that came in. And I remember when I first came in, I think she might have been the one that told me, but I was making fun of Fester Trim's name. And I thought it was a fun name, but I was being kind of a blabbermouth. And that when I first got there, somebody on the crew, or Amy, said, "Brad, don't make fun of that name, because one of our crew members is named Fester." So I never said that until now, but I'm telling you just because it was funny. And then I got a lot of flack at the time, but it was a good time. And I was impressed to get to work with Paul. I'm not trying to name drop, but Paul Rudd is a great guy, and the other actors that were there. That was a great day, and my lines were so well written. I don't even think we even did too much improv there, and it was just a great experience for me and a dream come true for me. And of course the show has been it's been one of those great shows that'll never be off. One of my friends here, it's her favorite, and a lot of people just love this show. And she tells me about it. She's watched every episode so many times, and I just loved it. The Bolo's tie was apropos, and his costume was, and he was quite of a character. But I liked it, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens right now. Is I just got a picture that hit all the theaters called Accidental Texan, and it's going to be streaming as now. And if it's not at the theaters, it came on 2 weeks, and it's got Thomas Hayden Church in it, and Rudy Pankow, who's a young movie star now from Outerland, and I love, and I worked with Bruce Dern. My gosh, he's 94 years old. I start thinking I'm at 69. I'm old, and then I see an older actor that's not. He's so lucid and so wonderful, and he's so excited about working. And he's incredible. He still works all the time. And then I did that, and then I did another movie with Steve Zahn called Leroy, Larowy, why. And that's the name of a town. There's trailers out for both these movies. And this comes out in April, I believe. April. This movie comes out, and it won awards at Tribeca Festival in New York and in Deauville, France. It was Best Picture, and so it's a great first-time director and a very, very Coen-esque black thriller. I thought black comedy, but it's more than a thriller, and it's a really, really well written, and I think it's gonna be a hit. I really think it is. You never think that about indie picture pictures, but this one's done really well, and so did Accidental Texan. So both of those are coming out. That's what I've got coming out. And then, of course, I did just Love and Death with Jesse Plemons and Elizabeth Olsen, who are just in great 34-year-old actors, and I love them. And so that was a true story that happened here in Texas in 1980 when the lady was axe murdered in Wiley, Texas, and I was here. So that's crazy, very close to my life. And that's on HBO Max now, and I got to meet Tom Pelphrey, who's my favorite actor right now, I think, in the world, from Ozark, and just a lot of people there on that show. So hopefully this will help you. And all of my stammering is crazy. I think I've had too much coffee this morning, but whatever. I'm trying to give you some information about and loving being on your podcast this morning. So hopefully this is enough to tell about, and I'll talk to you more on this show when we can. And I'm sorry it's so quick, but it's good for you. I think for me, it's good for me to get this out. So thank you. And thanks for having me. We'll see you.
He is such a little sweetie.
I adore him. Oh my gosh.
I know. That was so nice. I wanted to show you a picture too of like the actual video that he sent. That was him sending it. He's a sweet little man. So I don't know where he was, but oh my gosh, that's so cool. So he really was a football guy, and he's also really a Dallas, Texas dude, which is awesome. Like the accent is there,
Hell yeah.
which I love. And I also love that, I love that story of him talking about, he had a dream to be at UCLA, and in a roundabout way, he got to do it through this show, which is so cool. That's such a nice moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I wanted to mention, too, he's also in a movie, another football movie, I think, with Jim O'Heir. It's a 2019 movie called The Last Whistle, which is amazing, and roundabout as well. And then Bruce Dern, also, speaking of which, is also in Palm Royale with Laura Dern. And they have a great scene together where they're like on acid, and it's so fun to watch. But anyways, thank you so much, Brad Leland. That was amazing. He also has a little grandbaby. That's why he said sorry it was so quick, because I was probably a little persistent as per me, and I was just like, hey, like, we're recording, so sorry, if you don't want to do it now, like, you could send it in later, it's totally fine. He was like, I'm usually really prompt, I just have a lot going on, and I have a new granddaughter and all these things. And I was like, oh my god, take your time, I just want to know if you still wanted to do it, it's totally fine. But he was so nice and sent that in, so congratulations on being a grandpa, and thank you so much for sending that in. It's so sweet, darling little man.
That's so sweet, because he has a lot going on. It's a lot.
God,
that's
so
a lot
much.
of stuff. Good for him.
I know.
Oh
the last 4 minutes, basically, were his new projects. So that is incredible. I also love that he said, I'm not trying to name drop. And I was like, baby, you were really, like, you were with him, though. So you're not name dropping. You're just saying a fact. It's so cute. Love that. So thanks so much, Brad, and we'll see you soon. Okay, finally now we are on Bus Tour Season 4, Episode 21, written by Aisha Muhar and Alan Yang, which is perfect for my Loot connection because of Loot, Alan Yang. Also, reminder, if you haven't watched Master of None, that was a season, Alan Yang's as well. So
good.
Or watch that. It's so good. Allora. So good. This was directed by Dean Holland, so we have an amazing dream team. Aisha is in the Sherver. She is a producer and writer for The Good Place, Hacks, Parks. She's written 14 episodes for Parks so far. So we've seen Kaboom, Park Safety, Camping, like a ton of amazing ones. Operation Anne. And then she was also, I say this every time, I'm sure you've been on an episode that she wrote, but she was also the worker at the baby store when Anne goes to get baby clothes. And she's like, I haven't seen anything without Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s face on them. These are the first bibs I've seen. And she's like, really? That's Aisha. So she's amazing. And then let's see. There was a draft check, I think, and I just wanted to kind of talk about what it was because I had done some research on her, and I actually think it was she might have been on she was on the podcast with Jim O'Hare and Greg Levine, who was a writer on the show. But they talked about this thing called a draft check with like check marks through read-throughs, and they'd have big or little checks with how much of a laugh that the script got, and so they never lost like the funny thing during the rewrite. And I just think that it's really interesting because, you know, when you're so in the circle in the weeds with like, I've heard this joke 800 times, like, is it still funny? And you have to like take a step back, but they kind of can't take a step back. And so they just keep revisiting and making sure that it's still funny. Like, I think that's just a really cool, reminder that they worked so hard on just like, no ego. Is it funny or is it not? You know?
That's smart. Well, especially because things change so much just depending on who's reading it too.
So true. It's so subjective. So true. And then, of course, our amazing Dean Holland is the backbone of so many shows like The Office, and he was really a heavy creator on the editing of how The Office got to look the way that it did, cutting off at those funny scenes, not making the joke go too far, making it land on the right spot. He's also a producer on Not Dead Yet, which is a show out now with Gina Rodriguez, who was on Jane the Virgin. I gotta check that show out. My mom watches it. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched it, but I read the pilot.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
It's
very
cute.
Interesting and funny. Yeah. So, okay, before the summary that Maddie sent in, I did want to let everybody know that I watched the director's cut on this one, and there weren't that many deleted scenes, but I'll sprinkle in some details. But I do want to say there are some random lines, like Leslie and Ben synchronize their watches, and she's like, how's the machine supposed to be well-oiled if we don't have the right timing? They like have a little matchup where their watches are the same time. It's just like freaking hilarious, which goes along with the stump speech where he's like, I can, time her stump speech like to the minute basically of when there's going to be a big laugh and all that stuff. So that was kind of a cool thing. And then I also wanted everyone to know that they did do multiple takes on the pies for Jerry. They had a deleted scene of like, tons and piles of pie. Like, oh God, that must have been awful. And
Jim O'Hare is such a champ. Like,
such a champ. Just a couple episodes ago, he had to be in a bathtub.
That
oh my God.
Sweet patient man. Oh my gosh.
Yes. There's also a deleted scene about how Donna let Ron have his sandwich like in the car in the Benz, but then she pulls out a vacuum after and tells him to make sure he got all the crumbs. And she made Tom take off his shoes, and she like puts it in like a little luggage bag. And I was just like, that is such a cute, amazing detail.
I always get heartbroken that so many Donna Meagle moments get cut.
I know. It's the worst. I hate it so much.
She's such a queen.
She's such a queen. I'll talk about it too, but they had a whole different tag for this episode. It was a Donna tag. And I was like, oh my God, it's so good. I think I recorded it, so you'll hear it. That is kind of, I've taken on that as my job, really, to anything that they cut, especially for Donna and for the actors that got cut, which we'll talk about in this one and the next one. I'm always like, it did not get cut in my mind. I care. Bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the summary from Maddie for Bus Tour.
Hello there. Bus Tour. I am so excited about Bus Tour. And as I am most of this season. But yes, so I have a summary for everybody. We're in the home stretch of Leslie Knope's campaign. In a last-ditch effort to rally some extra votes, the Knope campaign rents a bus to tour Pawnee, while the Newport camp uses a tragedy to their advantage. But Bobby and Leslie find common ground. Kris continues to try to find stability, and Andy finds a pie criminal. I don't have a ton of thoughts that I wouldn't be bouncing back and forth with you. But I know Leslie making this decision. I love that she has Anne and Ben like on her shoulder, helping her make the decision. And I love the decision she comes to, right, is that she's going to go apologize. Obviously, showing up in the bus does not work out very well for them. But I'm glad that she goes with that because that is the right thing to do. And I think Ben's too focused on the win. So Kris is stressing me out. That's how I feel with him most of this season, honestly, is like I'm proud of him for getting help and everything, but he's just so high energy that it's like a hot mess. So him like riding the bike faster than the bus, like that lives rent free in my brain. And him canoodling with Jen Barkley. So, but good for him. I'm proud of him for getting therapy and help and all that. But, and I also love that Andy has this purpose. The code names he comes up with, priceless, amazing, love them all. Love that Ben's like, thank God, when he's not been there, done that, or anything like that, and not sexual, right? And I'm so happy he has a purpose, right? And he finds the right guy. And, you know, we get to see this like successful side of Andy, and I absolutely love that. So have the most fun recording this episode. I'm hoping to be back for the next one. And yeah, I will talk to you guys soon.
Yay! Oh my gosh, yeah, Kris is fucking chaos. But I kind of love it.
Every time I'm like, I do have that knee-jerk reaction though of me or Traeger? Me or Traeger? Who are we talking about? Okay.
I know, the high anxiety.
Yeah. It's just, is that what I bring to the table? Chaos?
Right.
I know I bring that to the table. I know we're going to get into this, but my hottest take, I think, on Parks and Rec is that I really wanted Kris and Jen to be together.
That would be so great. What a nice little sideline.
I love the idea of somebody who believes like in the best in everyone and is so optimistic and so caring would be with somebody who is such an opportunistic human being and sees every angle and assumes everyone's out to get them.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so fascinating. Well, and there is a deleted scene too where I think, well, and I'll get to it, but Jen says like, you know, I am going to miss you. And Kris is like saying something along the lines of like, maybe we could keep this on like a casual basis. And she's like, nah.
No.
I'm good. I love it so much. I also, speaking of like couples that could be together, so we interviewed Councilman Hauser. Yvonne's Jourdain is his name, the actor. He was amazing, so lovely. Go listen to that if you haven't yet. He's such a wonderful human being. But he reminded me that there were a couple times when Donna has moments with like lines with Councilman Hauser, and I think they actually like wrote something, but then they didn't end up using it or something like that. And there's a line in this episode where, and we'll get there, but where she says, you know, I almost made it with Councilman Hauser before you guys interrupted me. And I was like, what a great thing that would have been. What a great couple to have seen that. I would have 100% petitioned to have them be together.
Absolutely.
I mean, we love Joe. But still, that would have been like a cool thing before we got to Joe. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Oh, I would have loved that.
Oh my God. Okay, so starting out this episode, we are at the front of Andy and April's house. Ben's giving an announcement in front of this huge tour bus. This tour bus looks so fucking good. I am so proud of the props department, painting department, whoever did this. It looks so good. I love it. And then it's so cute that Ben and Leslie have this moment of like, no, you tell them, but you're the cutest. I love you. Hey, were you going to tell us something? Anne. I love it so much. And she's saying, okay, so now we're only 2 points behind Bobby Newport. So one more day to close the gap aboard the SS Nope. And this is what I really related. I don't know if you might be able to relate to this too, but more so me, I think, where it's actually kind of funny because Mia was saying this when we last talked about like me trying to be PC, like covering my butt when I said something else, like where she's like, maybe we can live together. But you know, it's just an idea I had. We don't have to do it. We can talk about it. Like backing out, but then passively saying like, I actually really want to do this.
Yeah, that's a hard no for me. I'm a very assertive person.
Yeah, you're way more direct, I feel, which is so lovely. You have a good balance of being nice about it, though, I feel. Unless someone fucks you over, then obviously you'll
when I don't like someone.
Sure. But mostly I feel like they have to be mean to you before you're mean to them. You're not.
This is
mean.
very true. Yeah. The bar is set very low for me liking somebody. Like, truly, of just, oh, yeah, I assume everyone's a good person who wants to hang out and be great. And then when someone's shitty is when I'm like, oh, okay.
Never mind.
I'll burn this house to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be more like that. That was on my vision board where, but it's hard when I've lived my whole life this way. So I'm like addicted to making people feel comfortable is what I've decided. And so I really need to break that addiction. And I've gotten better at it, but that's that's another story. Anyhow.
You're very good with boundaries.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's something I've been working really hard on over the last 5 years, I would say, is really trying to be direct with compromise, but also say that doesn't work for me. Can we do presenting a solution? That doesn't work for me. Can we do this thing? And then if they say no, and that's fine. But I still stood my ground, Mm-hmm. And, Maddie and I have talked about this 100 times, but when you are pleasing people, you are just not pleasing them at all, actually, because then you end up having to back out and then, I didn't actually help anyone.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah. So that was your little reminder, listener, to set your boundary, do your thing. You need to do it. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay. So she has her little dream fantasy. I want this so bad. I can taste it. She sees Obama. I love this from Amy Poehler. Hey, buddy.
It's so cute. It's such an earnest moment.
Yes, such an earnest moment. Oh, God. And then now Andy is describing that we have a potential criminal on our hands because a pie was thrown in the face trying to get to Leslie, but it hit Jerry. We think it was trying to get to Leslie. And we haven't seen Burt Macklin in a while. I was so excited to see him.
Love Burt Macklin.
So good. Just know that you are still at large. I love the way Pratt says that. Oh my God. And then, yes, like Maddie said, all the code names for everyone. For Kris, if I had to pick a dude. For Donna, it happened in a dream once. I love that so much. Oh my God. Also, it's cool to see the exercise Bumbo Flex shirt callback that Leslie's face is on for Kris. It's so nice.
Totally didn't catch that at all.
Yes, I have Bumbo Flex.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cute, right?
Breezed by that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, they're so good at that it totally is subtle. But yeah, Bumbo Flex is there. So then we learn that the vans for the senior citizens somehow are no longer available. So Tom and Donna and Ron go to check that out. And I love that. Did you catch that Ron has his sandwich with him? But so he's eating a sandwich and then he turns around and grabs another one. So he has 2 sandwiches with him, which I was like, that's a very Ron, total breeze by. You might not catch it moment,
Man after my own heart.
Oh, with a little aluminum foil. So good. I know. Let's speculate on what kind of sandwich it was. Do you think it was a meatball sandwich?
Ooh, it had to be meaty. It has to be so meaty.
A meat lover's sub, maybe?
Ooh, there we go. He's going to get all that lettuce out of there. He's going to be bogged down by water vegetables. Get out of here.
Wait, what's lettuce?
Lettuce.
Oh. I was like, is this a vegetable I've never heard of?
No, I was just saying it like an asshole.
Lettuce, however you pronounce that.
Don't want any of that in there.
I could see Ron mispronouncing that, though. He can't eat a banana, so he doesn't know how to pronounce lettuce. That makes sense.
It's something that Logan does a lot, where he'll be like, lettuce? For why? Why is this here?
Oh, my God. All right, so then this is where this is a meme, actually, when Maddie said that he's going faster than the bus or whatever. This is a meme that I've seen, which is really that's later. This meme that I'm talking about in particular is that he's in a spiral because his line of to avoid falling into a bottomless pit of despair. Oh my gosh, it's so sad because he's talking about how he has been depressed about Millie, then Anne, then Professor Linda. So he just has to keep moving. And yeah, it's just really sad because this smart and also what's I guess interesting is that this smart, intelligent fella doesn't understand that your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It's so sad.
I know. I can completely understand Maddie's perspective of just Kris being really stressful and annoying. But there's so many moments like that, though, of just, I just want you to be happy, buddy. I just want you to be happy, and I'm so sorry. Also, can I just say real quick, and I'm totally blanking on the actress's name, but the stuff that you had with Professor Linda Halls was so good. That was all so great.
Thank you so much.
Oh man.
Danielle Basutti is her name.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Wow. Like, what a wonderful, wonderful person. Like, she was so interesting to listen to. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you got
she's
some
so
great
fun,
nuggets.
and she felt. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. She felt so, oh my gosh, she felt so regal. Like, as you might have seen in the videos too, she had her jewelry and stuff from her lovely show. She's doing Dwight in Shining Armor is what it's called. And she plays this witch, and she has these like lovely, like, I don't know, kind of bohemian vibe going on, like witchy vibes. And she had her nails kind of long, like a witch would have, but like not nasty witch, like regal witch. And she was like so wonderful and kind. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel like such a little peasant. But she was so relatable and so wonderful. So yeah. Those like moments though, she really brought some wonderful behind the scenes info from like Nick Offerman, giving her tips on like, don't tilt the hand that, you know, she's into him kind of thing, which I think is so important, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome. That would have been interesting to see her come back to like, you know, fuck with Kris a little bit, you know, like either mentally or physically or both or something. I can totally see her doing that. Mm-hmm. Would love that side quest. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, Kris is very chaotic and like crazy to me in these last couple seasons. I haven't, like, everybody knows he's like, especially in the beginning of season 4 and throughout the middle of season 4. For those of you who have been listening a while, I'm just not the biggest fan of Kris. I don't know. I've been so annoyed with him and everything that he does about like telling Jerry that he's like fucking Millie, like, stop it, that kind of thing. Like, but then this is where it's kind of unfortunate, but like, he's getting vulnerable. He's showing his human side. And that is where, you know, and it's kind of like a weird moment because I'm like, wait, so because he's sad, you're starting to like him more? And that's not really what it is though. But it is just you know, he's starting to be an actual person that I can relate to of like, oh, I get it. Because mental health and physical health are very intertwined, but like he doesn't have that mental part yet. So, and he has been getting shit on a lot with like his ladies and like, especially at that bar, though, he was like sitting by himself when, you know, Professor Linda and him he gets declined or whatever by her. And I'm just like, okay, you're going through it, bud. Just be happy, honey. Yeah. But yeah. All right, so Leslie's stump speech is really great. She wants to eliminate the libraries, and I have such tea, actually, because I don't know that I've said this before, or I don't think I have, but we've definitely asked, like, why does she hate the library so much? Like, it seems so off character for her, especially when she writes Groffle the Awful Waffle, and, like, she's all about education initiatives. It was such a weird detail to give Leslie's character, but I emailed Norm Hiscock, aka the producer / writer of Parks, one of them, and he's the best. We interviewed him like it was right after the strike, and we interviewed him, and we had to like hold off on posting his but until after the strike was over. But he is so nice, and he always gives me the longest emails ever. But let me share this with you. This email was so sweet, so I was like, Norm, can you please explain to me why she hates the libraries? It just doesn't make sense to us. Help me.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, as for the library stuff, she hated libraries for 2 reasons. Number 1, the library always seemed to get funding over other departments. So Leslie and the Parks Department were constantly shafted by the favored library department.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That makes total sense. And then number 2, which we have speculated about, but it's never been confirmed, that he goes, number 2, also Tammy 2 ran that department, period. Which, you know, that makes sense too. So that's just an extra icing on the cake of like, we hate her. But yeah, that makes sense. Like the funding was never there for Parks, so she's just annoyed with it, but she still likes the education initiative. So thank you, Norm, for clearing that up for us. I also asked if he had any memories about the bus tour in general, and he said we were still pretending to have a discussion of whether or not, spoiler alert, but come on, this is all.
You know what you're here for.
You know that. Yeah. Okay, whether or not Leslie would lose right before we wrote the final episode, but I never thought for a moment that she would lose, which I love. And then he also said, what is it? Oh, yeah. Like, after they decided that Leslie should run, a bunch of the ideas came up, and like they went to a writer's retreat. And that was kind of just normal stuff of like the candidate would, be in a campaign run as it got closer to voting day. So the bus tour came up on that retreat. And he said, I may have been in the rewrite for bus tour after the table read, but the table read went quite well, as I recall. And there wasn't a lot of rewriting, which is lovely. Oh, and then he added, Leslie did like books in libraries when she was a kid, but funding favoritism turned her against libraries. And libraries now became associated with Tammy too. Forgot to read that part. And then I asked, I was like, did you get to ride that bus? Did you get to like see that bus at all? Because I would love to hear about that. And he was like, nope, nowhere near the bus. And I never met Lil Sebastian. I was like, what a tragedy. But he also said that both him and Dan Gore were at Brooklyn Nine-Nine at this point. So, and they were told very late that they were tearing down the Parks and Rec sets. And they had opened up the props department so that people could like take them home or save them or whatever. But by the time they got there, everything was pretty much gone because I think they were working on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I was like, boo, that sucks. But thank you, Norm, for sending that. I really appreciate the knowledge about the libraries. Case closed. Burt Macklin on the scene. Okay. All right. So I love this crowd that turned up. I think it's really interesting because I haven't been to rallies like this, particularly like for a city council member, but I've definitely seen some meet and greets, and I'd like to go to one and see what it's all about. Because I think before I watched the show, I was like, people don't really come out for these, but they actually do. Like the more I get involved with campaigns locally and the more that I like follow social media and stuff like that, people do come out. But it also really makes me think of what would happen if Leslie Knope had social media. Like if Instagram was a big deal at this time. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. It'd be so much waffle art.
Yes!
I wonder too if she'd be one of those people who like curates her grid. You know what I mean? Where it's I have a set posting day, or there's a color scheme, or a wider image happens. It'd be so meticulously done.
I know. She'd have a binder on what she's posting.
Yeah. And then there'd be a manic moment of just like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I have to go live right now.
Literally, or like seeing her on Reels or something as she's at JJ's. Like, yeah. I think she would start being very, meticulous with it. And then eventually as she started playing with it, she'd just be like, this is fun. I'm going to post. Oh, my God. Anyhow. Also, I did notice that there is that, like, that's a very large and heavy looking podium and like big stage to set up. So most events that I see that I was talking about earlier, like, I don't know, I feel like they're already at a place, they're already at like a school or a library or whatever that already has a podium. So it would be really interesting to see how they got, like how an actual campaign has people do that. Like, are they volunteers? Are they from the State Department? Or are they from, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's a lot to do, especially if they're on a tour and they're making multiple stops. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing for me. Oh, yeah. And I wrote that's probably where campaign money could come in, to promote things. But anyways, so she's slamming the Newports, and then the dancers come out for Get On Your Feet. And it's so funny. There's a T-shirt cannon. I love Ben's line. All anyone really wants is free clothing shot at them from a cannon.
It's true.
Truer words have never been spoken.
I could not want a shirt at all, but if it gets shot in the air at me, shit. I'm going to be like that bridesmaid who's punching other women to get to the bouquet. I want that shirt.
And it's free.
It's free.
It's gonna be free.
It's free, and you have to win.
You have to win. This really reminds me of the like later, what was that, season 6 or whatever, when Ben wins like the plain blue T-shirt from T-Dazzle. Look how blue it is.
So blue.
All right, so now Andy is trying to recreate the crime scene, or the pie scene. Oh my gosh, like I said before, I can't imagine how sticky and nasty that must have gotten, and how much they must have laughed and then been annoyed at the same time. Like, don't close your eyes. That part too. Oh God. Also, the picture of Leslie to pie with the yarn thing, like a crime scene, but it only has 2 things instead of the normal 20 pictures, is freaking hilarious. That's so good. Oh yeah, and then Jim O'Heir did talk about how he was going in and had to clean his hair, wardrobe stuff for every take. So like that was a big process. Something to think about. Okay, this scene is so annoying where they're at the rental van place, okay? And Bill, who owns this rental place for the cars or the vans or whatever, says that the Newport campaign paid him to rent the vans and park them somewhere just so Leslie can't use them. And he's being such a dick.
Oh, it's Mike O'Malley, right?
Yeah!
Yeah. Who I love every
like,
time he shows up and stuff.
I do too. Oh my gosh, I did a whole little deep dive on him. Okay, so Mike O'Malley, can you tell he's from Boston too? O'Malley cat. Anyway, apparently he was thought about for Ron Swanson. I think he auditioned for Ron Swanson or somebody, his name came up in a Ron Swanson talk. And so I think it was one of those things where the casting director was like, well, we're thought about him. We should bring him back somehow. We don't know how, but we should definitely bring him back. And this is what he came back for. Isn't that so cool?
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Which is also like, I don't know. It's just like such a funny little, the comedy world, the Hollywood is so fucking small, dude. Like when you think about, I think about what's his name? Our favorite Johnny Sneed, who played the campaign, Leslie's first campaign manager.
Yeah.
Who auditioned for Jim in The Office. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God. So anyways, that just speaks to Allison Jones and Dorian Frankel, who kept bringing people back because they like them, you know?
Yeah. Allison Jones in particular too, right? She's one of those great people who it's, oh no, I'm a fan of this actor and I'm going to find a place for them.
Yeah. It's so lovely to hear. Ugh. But anyways, I always remember him, and a lot of people in our age range would probably remember him from being Kurt's dad on Glee.
Oh, mine is, well, this ages me because I'm older than you. Guts.
Oh, okay.
Guts is Nickelodeon's Guts.
What? I don't remember that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you might have been too young for this. So Guts was like this physical challenge show where you'd have the big event at the end was climbing the aggro crag, and he was the host for it.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was the best.
Okay, were kids in it?
Yeah, it was kids competing. And so, like, since the 90s, I've just been a Mike O'Malley stan because he was on this killer show I had that I watched all the time as a kid. So every time he pops up and stuff, like he's on Abbott right now. So
yeah. I have that written
it's
too.
It's just so great. Like, I love seeing him in things. Him and Mark Summers, I'm always just like, yeah, you guys were my childhood. You guys should keep doing whatever you want forever.
Who's Mark Summers?
Mark Summers, he does a lot of Food Network stuff now, but he did a lot of hosting on Nickelodeon as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oof. Man, have you watched all of Quiet on Set yet?
No. It's so difficult. It's so hard.
It's heartbreaking.
And I need to
I
finish it. Yeah, because I'm doing that slow crawl where I can't binge it. And it's like,
do not.
Maybe a bit each week.
Do not binge it. It's not. No, it's so gut wrenching. It's awful. But Mike O'Malley is great, and I love him. And but yeah, you guys, if you watch Quiet on Set, like, oof, it will just ruin a lot of shit for you for Nickelodeon. But however, I love Jeanette's book, though. By the way, if anyone hasn't read that yet, with McCurdy.
McCurdy, yeah.
I'm glad my mom died.
Yeah.
It's so good. Her writing, though, I'm really excited for her to write novels as well, because that's what she's working on now. And like her writing was just so brilliant. Like she writes in the present tense, so you're really right there with her. It's just so good. I love it so much.
She's fabulous.
And I'm just really proud of people for revisiting this and talking about it, because this is fucking traumatic, you know? And people, I think, should know. You know?
Yeah. Well, and it makes it slightly easier for other people who could be in similar situations to speak up.
That's so true. But, you know, not to put a bummer on O'Malley, because we love him. But Mike was also in Glee from 2009 to 2015, and he could have been doing that in the middle of that, in the middle of Parks, because this was in 2012. Parks was the first, or this episode in particular. But he was also in Sully with Tom Hanks, which is interesting. I didn't realize that. I forgot that. I remember Sully, but I don't remember him being in it. But anyway, he's been in a ton of things. Like you said, he was on Abbott Elementary. He's the fire captain. And then he was also in The Good Place, The Morning Show. Yes, Dear was one of his big claim to fames. He's also a writer-producer and was a producer on Shameless. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
no idea. And then he was going to have, again, I did a little bit of a deep dive on him, but he was going to have his own show, the Mike O'Malley Show, way back in the day. But I don't think it actually happened. Like, they were really working on it. And I think it might even be on IMDb as, like, maybe they did a couple episodes or something. But I would love to watch a Mike O'Malley show. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Freaking love that guy. Ugh.
Yeah. And now he's on a show called Heels on Starz, which is about the wrestling world.
Yes.
And for those of you who are not familiar, this is so funny that Loot is coming up so much. But Loot, that's one of like the storylines. One of the characters Ron Funches plays is like in the wrestling world, and a heel is the villain in like the WWE world for those scripted kind of wrestling vibes. But Mike O'Malley is the showrunner and EP of this show called Heels, and he's in it a couple times too. And I really want to watch it because not only is he in it, but Allison Luff, who played the lead Jenna in Waitress on Broadway that I saw, but she's been in a bunch of stuff, and she's also a singer-songwriter, is also on it. And I was like, oh my God, I have so many things to watch, though. It's so overwhelming, but I definitely need to add this to my list. I wonder, is Starz like an add-on, or I wonder if you can just watch it. I wonder if it's on anywhere for free.
I think it's something you can add on to Prime and stuff like that, but I'm not positive. One of these people should sponsor you so that you can have an absolute great plug. Come on.
Hello?
Don't be cowards.
Come on.
Give Holly your money, okay?
I'll talk about it. You guys know. I will. Hello.
She'll give you a great pitch. Get on it. Come on, Starz. Come on. Jump on board.
Thank you so much. All right. So here goes Tom again, also with his grown man crying solves everything. Oh, Tom. And then after that, we get a bomb that Newport died after she insulted him, saying like he's been a jerk and he is like terrible. Whoops. And oh my gosh, it's just so sad and like heartbreaking and tense anxiety to see her try to, get her life back together after she's trying to make a public statement on the spot. Sad. I sad. Overall,
it's rough.
That is a bummer. Also, side note, I did some research on this, and I think it's online for anyone to find, but when the press asks for her response to this death of Bobby Newport's dad, she replies, bummer, and this is a reference to the response that Paul McCartney gave the press when asked for his reaction to the death of John Lennon. I think he was quoted as saying, like, it's a drag, which became something, and it became something that like the media really globbed onto. But I Googled it and I watched some videos of Paul McCartney, and these reporters are being fucking relentless. Like, I was so fucking mad at them. They were like kept on egging him and asking him questions. And I don't mean like being mean. They just kept on asking question. This was literally like the day after, or maybe even the day of that John Lennon had died. And Paul McCartney was being like so chilled, like way more chill than he should have been. Obviously he was in shock, so I'm sure he didn't know what to do. But I was like, how dare you, fucking reporter? So why'd you go back to the studio? What? What? How did you feel? Blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, it was crazy.
It's a horrible video to watch, honestly. Like, it's very uncomfortable just because of that bombardment. They don't let him finish a sentence. They cut him off constantly. And you're trying to, if you are a person who has any kind of media training, you are trying to stay calm and collected during that bombardment. And when somebody who is incredibly close to you, no matter your artistic differences or what have you, passes, you should be able to process that grief on your own time and not have to speak to people on the day. It's so wild. I can't believe that people reacted so poorly to him trying to hold it together for that. Especially because the whole, like, why did you go to a studio? He starts to even say, I didn't want to just sit at home with this.
Yeah, and they said, why not? What are you talking about? Like, oh my God, it was so awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like what that's kind of based on, for which I know is like the comedy version of this, but like when you really think about it, it's nuts. And then also, I mean, have you heard of this whole thing? Like, this is not hot taker and news to anybody, but like Renee Rapp apparently like didn't say hi to somebody that wanted to take a picture with her at Coachella, I think it was. And like all these people are like, oh my God, she was so mean, blah, blah, blah. Celebrities actually don't owe you anything.
No.
The exchange ends when they give you their art and that's it. It's nice when they're nice, of course. And like it sucks when they're mean. But just because they don't want to take a picture with you, like on their personal time, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's crazy what people think they're owed now with social media. But even then,
bananas.
like that was in the 70s and like it's just gotten worse, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's a further entitlement because we have this interesting parasocial thing now.
Totally.
It's one of the things like why people love listening to your podcast, right? Is because they feel like they know you. They feel like they're friends with you and they're sitting down and they're like, oh my gosh, I love when Holly talks about this. Oh, she's going to get into this thing. I love when we get to do therapy and that. They feel like they have a connection to you, right?
I hope so.
And then in real life, that connection feels like it carries over. But it is a one-sided thing, right? Where you have the appreciation and gratitude for somebody listening to your art. But at the end of the day, you don't actually know each other. But there's still this thread that feels like you do. And that's a hard thing to kind of differentiate now because of how accessible everybody is because of social media.
Totally. And especially like on TikTok when like the thing that gets the most views sometimes is being vulnerable and being yourself and acting like you're, really connecting with people. But people don't understand that other side of it too, where, it is parasocial. That's so crazy. It's so interesting, like our psychology and how people also don't really know how to talk to people in real life because they're so practiced at talking to people via text or via behind a screen. It's wild. Anyway. But so that's kind of what that's based on. She says it's a bummer. And the get on your feet thing comes back because she says together we can build a better Pawnee. And it's like that's the cue for the music and the dancers to come back. Oh my God, it's so good. It was like a marionette kind of situation where they're just dolls that automatically start dancing. When she says that, it's so sad and awkward.
It's such a perfectly cringy moment.
Perfectly cringy. That's it.
It's so well executed because you're just like, no, Leslie, no.
I know. And the reporters are going ham too. Or sorry, the dancers are going ham too. Like they are really in it. They're giving 100%. And I'm really proud of them. And I was just like, oh my God. I also love that they bring back dancers. I know it's like cringy in this moment, but like during the gotcha dancers and like during Tom's kind of bullshit stuff, they've got dancers. I love that. One of the dancers actually that I still follow from Joan's Gotcha Dancers is a dancer on Taylor Swift's tour. And she posts about it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so exciting.
That's awesome.
It's great. It's great. And most of them are doing wonderful, professionally, dancing performances. It's wonderful. But okay, this reporter, I love this reporter. Is that your official statement? ISAD. She's so great. Her name is Danielle Kennedy. She's been in a lot of stuff. She was in Sex Lives of College Girls, which love that. Speaking of Renee Rapp. The 2021 Ghostbusters with Paul Rudd, which is amazing, full circle, and some other things. Great job to her. But most importantly, she sent in a voice memo.
Yay!
Her voice, and I think, I didn't say this, but Fester, or Brad Leland, his voice is so perfect for that role. I feel like Danielle's, when you hear her voice, is so perfect for this role too. It's kind of that gritty vibe, and I just love it so much. It's so perfect for this. Like, is that your official statement? ISAD. It's so good. So let me go ahead and play that for you.
Hi, Danielle Kennedy, playing the reporter in the bus tour episode of Parks and Rec. And boy, have I got some great stories connected with that. First of all, I loved that show. Wanted to be on it so bad. And when my manager, Eileen O'Farrell, got me an audition with the fabulous casting director, Dorian Frankel, for this particular part, I was so excited. And what I did was to prep for it. Small town, election, but the people there consider it a very big deal. And I understood that because I lived in Ketchum, Idaho for a while and was a news reporter for the local Idaho Mountain Express. So I took it very seriously, and I came at the reporter's role with a real sort of innocence and honesty and very serious, wanted to really do a good job and get the facts perfect. And so that's how I went in and did that audition. And that's how I ended up doing the actual part when I got it. And we shot it up in the valley in Burbank, California, at a big park. We had a whole bunch of background extras there. All the series regulars, I was starstruck, were there. Amy and Rob and, I could go on and on. You know who they all are. And they couldn't have been nicer to me. And when we did rehearsal in the park, when I actually tell Leslie, who's running for office, that her opponent's dad had just passed away, and she responded with, "I sad." And I retorted with, "Is that your statement? I sad?" And I played it super straight. During the rehearsal, everybody broke up laughing. And so when they cut after the rehearsal, before we actually shot it, Amy was standing at the podium and she said, "If I see one person break when we shoot this, keep a straight face." And so that made me feel great because I knew that I was in, that I had been accepted and I was doing a good job with this particular role. Not only did they feel I did a great job, but they asked me to join them in the area where they were eating lunch, which, oh my gosh, I was so excited. And then they asked if I could come back for another episode in a few weeks. Well, the sad part was, not sad, because I was very excited to be doing a Jane Fonda yoga video for seniors, but I was due to be at her studio to start rehearsing for this yoga video that we were doing. And I was running late and they did not know that I was on Parks and Rec. So I got in a bit of trouble. So I had to turn down having lunch with Amy and all of them. And then I had to go charging over to the other side of town to work on the yoga video. And I was late, and I've never been late for anything in my life. So that was a little tense when I got there. And I had to turn down the second episode because I was shooting the primetime video with Jane, which was also a thrill. But it was a very high tense day because I was doing two things I was very excited about on the same day. But anyway, they loved it. And they did ask me to come back in the last season on one of the last episodes to play a reporter again. But it was different then. Bus tour was just a hoot. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of that history and part of that world. And everybody was just super great to me. Thank you for asking.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy. What is this yoga video? You guys, listeners, you couldn't see, but Kris and I were making the wildest gasping faces like, what? I need to see that.
I was trying so hard to not do anything audibly because Jane Fonda senior yoga. Yes. Where is this video? I found my new workout. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to ask her. As you can tell, I did not listen. Sometimes I listen to the voice memos before I play them, but I did not listen to hers before because I saw it was shorter and I didn't need to cut anything. So that is an incredible surprise. Thank you, Danielle, for sharing that with us. And I will definitely be asking you where that video is, or if I don't find it by the time this airs. Oh
Absolutely.
My God. That's wonderful, though, that you made them laugh and that she was asked back and all these things. Like, and also just to have that memory of like, yes, I want to eat lunch with you. I can't imagine, like, yes, I do, but I can't.
I got to go see Jane Fonda.
What a life to live, man. Oh, my Lanta.
That's amazing. Cool excuse, too. I mean, I wish I had stuff like that. Just, oh, no, I'd love to get lunch, but, me and Jane Fonda, we got to go to yoga. Like instead, I'm like, no, I gotta let my dogs out.
Yeah, right, right. Oh my God, lame.
Oh.
And that's so great too that she was actually a reporter. Like that totally comes off. I mean, I know all actors are wonderful and have like a storied history, but yeah, that totally makes sense of playing it very straight and like. I love that. Oh my gosh, great job, Danielle. Thank you so much for sharing that. We got a kick out of that. It was a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll definitely be reaching out to her for the next episode. I always forget, because we're getting into the seasons now where people are not always like 2 episodes consecutively with the guest stars. It's like they'll be called back like later and later and later. So I always have to remind myself, or they have to remind me that they were in it. So anyway, okay. So thank you, Danielle, for that. That was amazing. I'm like still in shock almost about Jane Fonda yoga. Okay. Also, I don't know. I felt like this, and I want to confirm this maybe with Danielle if she remembers, but I feel like the sun was so bright because both, like, kind of everybody was squinting a little bit, like, including Amy. And she was like, I mean, I think some of it was scrunching that she could play off of, like, her surprise or whatnot that, you know, Nick Newport had died. But I can imagine that being really hot and trying not to squint too hard. Anyway, okay. So now we're seeing Jen Barkley on Purd calling on Leslie to cancel her campaign events out of respect. That would be, oh my God, so funny. That would be a classless move on par with spray painting the Lincoln Memorial. Spray painting nipples on the Lincoln Memorial. Oh, how do these people come up with this shit? It's so funny.
Freaking Hahn. Oh,
Catherine Hahn is truly the queen goddess of everything.
Absolutely.
And she's
a national treasure.
National treasure indeed. And no, I mean, like every guest star I feel has pretty much said that about her. And that's what was so funny when, what's it called? WandaVerse or whatever the hell.
WandaVision.
WandaVerse. I'm like combining Sureverse and Wanda. When WandaVision came out, everybody was like freaking out about, oh my gosh, Catherine Hahn is so good. Where has she been? I'm like, baby. She's been
everywhere.
She's been on these streets.
Yes.
Incredible. Love it so much. Okay. So, also I thought it was interesting that Purd was like playing on the bus. Like, how did they get that on the bus? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's a show, but how's cable on there? Maybe it's on YouTube and they connected it to Wi-Fi. Oh,
Maybe. Pawnee's public access media is real highfalutin. It's everywhere.
So funny. Also, Hollywood break really quickly. Jay, who always plays Purd, who plays Purd, told us a long time ago that he wanted to like kind of move on from Parks and like try to do more things. And I just saw him post about how there's like a Purd doll now, and he posted about it, and I was like, oh, I thought you didn't want to like be associated with Purd though. But that is really cool that there's like a doll. But I'm just spreading all the tea because I just don't care anymore. But he was great. We had a great interview with him. I just always find it so funny when, you know, people say one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which I get. I totally get. I think a lot of people were like contacting him quite a bit to be Purd. And he was probably just like, I want to try something else. But then most recently there's like a Purd doll, and he's very excited about it. So I would be too. But I would also not be trying to get rid of Purd, you know?
No, I would capitalize on that. I'd be on Cameo. I'd be making that paper.
He was on Cameo, which is how I found him, because he was being Purd on Cameo.
Okay. See, there we go. There you go.
So, but he keeps coming back though, which we love him as Purd. Oh my God. And the writing for that is so phenomenal. I can't even stand it. Every time they come up, I don't think they're going to top it. And then they do. It's just like amazing. But anyway, okay. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. When she gathers people around, she says, you know, gather around me in order of how much I trust you. And then Anne and Ben are close, and Jerry is there, but he like slowly backs away. Poor little Jerry. He thinks he might be in it, and then he's like, no, never mind.
Yeah, and then just
Yeah, and I just love this too because it's such a nice depiction of like the boyfriend and the best friend of like who's winning here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love Amy Poehler too of the good answer, great body. Okay, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this too, as far as like, where do you think, like, what do you think that they should have done? Because I was like, could there be a compromise kind of where she goes apologizes to him without any cameras, and then not necessarily leaking it to the press, but like making a statement of like, I'm really sorry that I said that, like publicly kind of thing. So like doing both at the same time, but I don't know which is better. So Ben thinks that they should stop campaigning, and Anne thinks that she should apologize to Bobby first before they campaign again. And ultimately Leslie goes with Ben. But what are your thoughts on this?
I definitely think the classier move is go apologize. And then, yeah, you do, again, the media training thing of, I was so caught off guard in the moment. We had already planned our day of doing our campaigning. Obviously, what I said was absolutely gauche. I made sure to go talk to the Newport family. I brought flowers. I did this. I did that. And today is a day we can set aside personal politics to be people.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well written. You could be a PR person.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. Call me. Hire me.
I can't believe how stressful that would be, because there's that, I haven't seen her in a while, but that TikTok lady that used to be like PR for people that really fucked up, and it was just like so hilarious of trying to cover her dumbass clients. Again, this was all fictional, but like, yeah.
Was that one of the Caitlin Riley characters? Because I know she would do that
No.
every now and then, where she'd be like, I need you to pick up. I need you to stop saying things.
Yes. No, that wasn't her, but I love Caitlin Riley so much. This gal that I'm talking about had like glasses and brown hair, and she did it for Jake Gyllenhaal when Taylor Swift's new All Too Well came out, and she was like, you are not to wear a scarf at all. Just let it die down. And then she also makes fun of like Elon Musk and stuff, where she's like, yeah, remember how we talked about you can't say like certain shit like that? And then that really went in one ear out the other, didn't it? So funny. Anyhow, so basically, ultimately, Leslie goes with Ben because, she wants to keep campaigning, and he really was, Nick Newport really was a jerk kind of thing. But, I see where Anne's talking about, because where Ben is coming from, it's more of like, we leak it to the press, like we're very scammy about it kind of thing, as opposed to, having a little bit more of a diplomatic approach to it. So that's where
it's a very Jen move.
Yeah, very Jen move too. So totally. Okay, so I did look up the BBB rental, because that's where the vans are. That's where the white vans are that they want to rent. And there is a rental business, but like I don't think it was based off of anything, because I found one that services Mexico and Canada. I was like, nope, that's not here.
Okay.
When I Googled BBB rental, though, the Better Business Bureau came up. So I was
that
like,
makes
nope,
sense.
that's not right. Donna says that the guy that owns the vans will get free publicity. And he's like, I'll just pay for the publicity with my $10,000. And there's a poster with his publicity picture and this like really hot girl, which is very reminiscent of Nick Offerman or Ron Swanson's Breakfast Lady, which is hilarious. And I did find this gal. Her name is Nicole Alexandra Shipley, and she is an actress. She was in The Trial of Chicago 7, Tar, Criminal Minds. I reached out to her, but, obviously I don't know what she's up to, but maybe we'll get to talk to her. That would be awesome. But she's also, what I found her on Instagram. She's also the owner and creator of something called Safe Space Media, and their mission statement is really beautiful. It says, Safe Space is an impact media nonprofit founded to center the voices of underrepresented creators on and off the screen. We tell stories no one else will that makes a difference in people's lives through film, TV, and documentary.
That's great.
Really intriguing. Good job.
Nice.
Again, that's Nicole Alexandra Shipley, so I hope that she reaches out to us. But I just think that is so funny. Like, I don't know if she auditioned for that. I'm intrigued if she, like, was an extra, maybe, like the chair model was, where she was, like, through central casting and then, started auditioning for other things, or how that all worked. But either way, it was great. Okay, so Tom is terrible, and Yogurt Platinum.
Perfect segue.
Okay, moving on. Yogurt Platinum. Tom is terrible. It's Tom's idea to let the van guy in and make money instead of the $10,000 thing. And which is so funny. I just love that Tom's like, but he's going to steal my idea. And Mike O'Malley's like, no, I'm not. That's a stupid idea. But Ron wants to talk to Bill man to man. So, yeah. Okay, and then the last thing in this part one that we'll talk about is our Groffle the Awful Waffle reading, which I just love that name so much. Oh my god, it's so good. I also love that she what's her name? Gay Perello, who is the props person And I can't find her anywhere, so I'm sure she's just like not on social media, or maybe she's just, is a very private person. But she is the one that has created so many amazing names and book covers. Like Ben was reading something that I can't remember, but there's also remember the book that Kris is reading actually at the Professor Linda restaurant when she says, what is it? Limitless. Limitless, with the lady that swam across the ocean with no arms or legs. She also did like a play on Zero Dark 30 that I can't remember. But anyway, she is so good, and she just really creates this world, I feel, of, puns and all these cool things. So shouts to her. But anyway, so she's reading this at an elementary school, and there's an officer outside of the elementary school. So Andy goes up to him, and I just wanted to play this scene because I think it's really funny. So here you go.
515, 256, got a 333. Copy that.
Andy Dwyer, Burt Macklin, Eagle One. We need to see your security plan.
This is an elementary school. My security plan is to stand right here.
Sounds good. Looks like you got this post. You see anything suspicious, you just let me know immediately, okay?
Nope.
That's cool.
I just thought it was so funny that, because when he first comes up and he's like saying all the numbers, like 49, da-da-da, like he's not talking to anyone. He doesn't have a walkie-talkie or anything. But the reason I'm playing this mostly is because this actor is Leonard Robinson, and he was actually on Insecure. He's one of the like big guys on Insecure. He actually plays the law partner to Molly, Issa's best friend, Molly, and he looks so different. Like it's just a different vibe. I feel so. I was like, why is he familiar? And at first, I saw him on IMDb, and I was like, maybe it's the cop in the tag of when a pie gets thrown and the officer's like, let's go, and arrest the guy. But no, he was in this deleted scene. So I was like, I have to play this to show everybody.
Hell yeah. Aww.
It's so cool. But he's been in a bunch of stuff now. He did the Black Lady Sketch Show, American Dad, Kenan, Law and Order, Blockbuster, which I think is that Netflix one with Asian
Park.
Jim, Randall Park. Yes. Did you watch that? I haven't watched it yet.
I did.
Okay.
I love Randall Park.
Enough said. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the best. Okay, and I also love these questions, oh my gosh, by all the girls and stuff. It's so, so precious. But we're going to get to that next week because I have so many amazing voice memos from a lot more people, a lot more deleted scenes. But that's going to do it for part 1. So again, don't forget to rate and review and do all of the things. Follow Two Filthy Casuals. Thank you, Kris, for being here. I really appreciate you so much.
Oh my gosh, of course. Anytime. We'll see you for part 2, folks.
Okay, see you soon. Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.